Everyone in the room froze when the massive German shepherd suddenly leaped into the little girl's coffin. No one dared move. No one understood what he was doing. Officers whispered, parents gasped, and the funeral home fell into a stunned silence. The dog, her loyal protector, pressed his head against her tiny shoulder and refused to get out. Even when officers tried calling him, he growled softly, heartbreakingly, as if guarding something no one else could see. People thought he was grieving, but they were wrong, because within minutes, that dog exposed a truth so shocking, so unbelievable that even the toughest officers stepped back in fear. A truth that would change everything about how the little girl died and who was responsible. Stay with me, because what this dog revealed turned a quiet funeral into a crime scene and a mystery no one expected. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The funeral hall was quieter than a whisper, so silent that even the soft hum of the ceiling fans felt out of place. Rows of grieving faces filled the room, each person dressed in black, their eyes fixed on the small white coffin at the front. The sight of it alone was enough to make hearts shatter. A child, a little girl, gone far too soon. Mothers held their own children closer. Fathers clenched their jaws, unable to understand how life could be so cruel. At the center aisle, police officers stood in formation, their uniforms crisp, their expressions carved with grief. They weren't just there out of duty. They were there for her, the little girl who had been like a ray of sunshine every time she visited the station, the one who used to run around giving stickers to the officers and calling them heroes. But today the real hero was someone else. Rex, the department's most loyal German shepherd, walked slowly beside Officer Mark, his tail low, his ears drooped. He had refused to leave the girl's house last night. Now he stopped, only a few feet away from her coffin, frozen, staring at her like he was waiting for her to sit up and laugh again. People whispered softly. No one knew the dog was about to change everything. As the pastor began speaking, Rex suddenly moved. It wasn't a slow, hesitant step. It was a bolt of instinct. The large German shepherd broke away from Officer Mark's side and rushed toward the coffin. Gas rippled through the room. A few people stepped forward, unsure whether to intervene. But Rex didn't care. He placed his front paws on the edge of the small casket, lifted himself with a gentle grunt, and climbed inside. A stunned hush fell over the hall. Rex lowered himself beside the little girl, pressing his nose softly against her cheek as if trying to warm her. His large body curled protectively around her tiny frame, and he closed his eyes, letting out a low, aching whimper. Officer Mark moved toward him, whispering urgently, "Rex, come here. Boy, come on." But the dog didn't even look at him. When Mark tried again, Rex growled, not viciously, but warningly, heartbreakingly. It was the sound of a guardian refusing to abandon his post. Family members burst into tears. Some covered their mouths. Others murmured, that the dog simply didn't understand. She was gone. But then Rex lifted his head, sniffing her dress, her hair, the pillow beneath her. His muscles tensed. His ears shot up sharply. This wasn't grief. It was alertness. Something had triggered him. Something no human in that room could sense. And that was the moment officers realized something was terribly wrong. Rex lifted his head slowly, his eyes no longer soft with grief, but sharp, focused, locked on to something unseen. He sniffed the little girl's shoulder, then the neckline of her dress, then the blanket tucked around her. Each breath he took grew deeper, more urgent. The hall, once filled with quiet sobs, now held a thick, uneasy silence. Everyone watched, confused, as the dog's behavior shifted from heartbreaking devotion to calculated detection. Officer Mark stepped closer, his brow furrowed. "Rex, what is it, boy?" he whispered. Rex ignored him completely. Instead, he lowered his nose to the girl's wrist, inhaled sharply, then snapped his head toward the left side of the room. A deep growl rumbled in his chest. People followed his gaze to the line of mourners, confused, startled, suddenly nervous. Then Rex did something that made every officer stand straighter. He climbed out of the coffin, paced around it, and returned to the girl, tapping the edge with his paw. AK-9 alert. Signal. Not once, not twice, 3 times. Officers exchanged looks. Silent alarm had gone off. Mark's heart pounded. Rex only did that when he detected substances or danger, but this was a funeral, a child's funeral. The dog circled the coffin again, nose skimming the edges, then returned to the girl's hair, sniffing intently before staring directly intensely at a man standing among the crowd. The man stiffened. Rex growled louder. Mark felt chills. The dog wasn't mourning. The dog was pointing. The funeral hall erupted into anxious whispers as Rex's growl deepened. Officer Mark raised a hand, signaling everyone to stay calm, but his own pulse thundered in his ears. Something was wrong, terribly wrong, and Rex didn't make mistakes. "Clear the room," Mark ordered quietly. His voice was steady, but the weight behind it was unmistakable. The pastor nodded, guiding family members and mourners out, their worried glances flicking between the dog and the little girl's coffin. Within minutes, detectives arrived. The shift from mourning to investigation felt surreal. A child's funeral had turned into a potential crime scene. Rex paced restlessly until the medical examiner approached the coffin. As the examiner leaned in, Rex placed a paw, gently yet insistently, on the girl's dress, then tapped again on the pillow near her neck. Mark inhaled sharply. Another K-9 alert. The examiner's expression darkened. "We need to take her back," he said quietly. "Something isn't right." The hall grew colder. The body was carefully transported to a private room. Rex followed, refusing to be leashed or pulled away. When the examination began, the truth surfaced. Piece by piece, a faint chemical scent clung to her hair, something no one had noticed except Rex. Beneath the child's nails were microscopic traces of a foreign substance. and on her dress a residue that shouldn't have been there at all. The examiner stepped back, shaken. This wasn't natural, he said. Mark's stomach dropped. Rex had just uncovered the first sign of foul play. The room felt frozen as the medical examiner laid out the results. Officer. Mark stood beside him, Rex pacing anxiously at their feet. The examiner removed his gloves slowly, his eyes filled with something between disbelief and sorrow. The substance Rex detected, he began quietly, wasn't something a child would ever come into contact with, accidentally. Mark's chest tightened. Then how? She was exposed to it, deliberately. The examiner cut in, voice cracking. Someone poisoned her. The word hung in the air like a thunderclap. Mark felt his breath stop. Poisoned a child? Why? By whom? Rex suddenly growled, low and threatening, and turned toward the doorway. The same man he'd growled at earlier stood there, hands shaking, eyes darting around the room. A family friend, someone who had acted overly emotional at the funeral, someone who had been near the girl the day she fell ill. Detectives exchanged looks. Sir, one of them said, stepping forward. We need to ask you a few questions. The man backed away, voice trembling. I didn't do anything. I was just paying respects. But Rex lunged forward, stopping inches away, barking with fierce certainty. This wasn't confusion. This was identification. The truth unraveled in minutes. The man had been alone with the girl before she collapsed. He'd given her a drink, one her parents thought she simply didn't finish. Detectives moved in. Rex's instincts had uncovered the unthinkable. The moment the man tried to slip out the back door, detectives moved fast. He barely made it 2 steps before officers pinned him against the wall. His panicked shouts echoed through the hallway, but no one listened. The truth had spoken louder than anything he could say, and Rex had been the one to reveal it. As the handcuffed man was dragged away, the girl's parents broke down, clutching each other, devastated yet grateful beyond words. They looked at Rex, this loyal guardian who had refused to let their daughter's story end in silence. Later, in a quiet room, the little girl's coffin was placed back where it belonged. Rex walked forward, slowly, his steps gentle, his ears lowered. He climbed inside one last time, curling beside her just as he had at the funeral. But this time there was no growl, no tension, only a soft, grieving whine. He rested his head against her hand as if giving her the goodbye she deserved, the truth she deserved. Officer Mark whispered, "You did it, boy. You gave her justice." Rex closed his eyes. The room fell silent.